now. So yeah, they're going to be picking him up, so Fnatic now going to try and retaliate. Anivia wasn't banned, Twisted Fate hasn't been banned, so two big characters there for Peke to go ahead and to pick up if he so chooses. Question in my mind is, will Lamia go Ashe again? Worked very well for him last game, but perhaps not this time.
I know that I've seen Lamia playing several different AD carries, and in my mind, Graves and Ashe are his strongest. And once again, you see he is going to be sitting on that Ashe. I don't see why not. You know, so much experience, so much practice, knows exactly what Ashe can and cannot do. It doesn't make sense to not pick him. On the flip side, if you can force Absolute Legends to take Ashe with the mindset, hey, look, let's not let Lamia get it. Lamia knows, or Fnatic know, that he has alternative AD carries to pick from. So forcing Pucky style to maybe take an AD carry he's not 100% comfortable with, you know, instead of going Corki, taking Ashe because they don't want Lamia to have it. There's that whole psychological and strategic play to be considered as well. I mean, look at it there. Lamia clicked on Ashe, let it sit there for 10 seconds, and then swapped to Ahri. I mean, what's the reasoning behind that? Why else would you do that?
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, I have to say as well, the Ahri pick I'm really liking, because I've seen Peke play Ahri. He is dominant with her, so one to watch out for. Again, Maokai as well is actually going to get picked up from Cyanide, and Maokai is fairly similar to Nautilus in the sense that he's very much a gank heavy champion early game. With the Twisted Advance, of course, he can snare down those characters, so again, Cyanide probably going to play very, very aggressive.
And exactly like we mentioned, you could see the entire minute of the champion selection process was used up. Absolute Legends, they sat there and they were considering, who do we take? You know, we've got to lock in, or we want to lock in our AD carry. They didn't click on any champion, so we didn't see who they were talking about. But it eventually ended up being Corki, and I strongly believe they were discussing, do we want to take Ashe? You know, do we want to remove it? And, you know, Cyanide and Felox getting their Ashe Taric combination, once again, coming up against the Corki-Soraka combination. My question is, can Cyanide pull a repeat of game 1, but this time with the tree instead of the diver?
Well, I don't see why not. He's such a good jungler that if he's given any opportunities, he is going to pounce. So we do see Soraka and Corki bot lane potentially. Ezreal may be getting picked up from Kikis, but I'd expect that to change over fairly briefly. And of course Kellever in mid has taken Kennen, but they have 10 seconds to change their mind if they so choose. Kellever opting to lock in, and Ezreal being taken as well.
Now this is an interesting combination now, because that means we're going to see Ezreal in either the mid lane or the top lane, and Kennen once again, you know, either mid lane or top lane. I don't think that that's a placeholder. I am going to ask Veggie though. Any place holders or all real? So we'll wait for Veggie to reply. And I like seeing this Darian pick up. Darius pick up. Darian is a player.
I do it too, man. I do it too.
Drives me up the wall.
I feel ya.
The problem for me is the first time I seen him in competitive play, it was actually by Darian as well. So, like, you know, my brain is just automatically associated them together. But I've watched Soaz playing Darius several times, and he plays him phenomenally well. In the Fnatic Cup, actually, almost single-handedly used that Noxian Guillotine to win the game, compliments of that grace period.
He's an incredibly strong champion. Obviously, he did get nerfed. But yeah, exactly. I feel your pain, man. I do the exact same thing. Darian and Darius, I get them mixed up all the time. But we are going to see Soaz taking Nidalee again. And I just have to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. She did a great job at top last game. There's no reason not to pick her again.
Now, what I do like, we do see Kellever taking Corki for the mid lane. Now, I want to wait for these champions to be locked in so I can see the runes and the masteries that are going to be selected. I don't know if we can actually see them. Yes, we can. So Corki at the minute, 15 ability power, 13 armor, 12 magic resistance, 8.5 magic penetration. He's going to be using Corki to face off against Ahri in the mid lane. And there's a matchup I can honestly say I have never seen before.
+1. Me neither. I'm literally scratching my head. It makes sense though in a way. Oh, they've just switched. So they've completely ruined our lives.
You trolls! You trolls!
1 second to go and they flick the little switch there, so Kennen's going to be mid. I was going to say, it kind of makes sense though, because, you know, if the charm comes in, the Valkyrie can just get out of dodge from Ari, but it's not going to be the case. And Ezreal top then, I guess.
No. The switch has come in. Keep in mind, the reason for the switch, unfortunately, I'm not covering the summoner spell, so that's my bad. I think it's for potential ghosting, if anybody was watching it. Leech Random is the AD carry, so he's going to be playing bot lane, Pucky style. Caliver's their mid with Kennen, and Corki is going to be going top against Soaz's Nidalee. So once again, another matchup I have never seen.
Yeah, but again, that does kind of make sense, because obviously Nidalee is a kind of pokey AD range. That's the way Soaz was playing in last game. AD kind of tanky, so Corki can just go blow for blow with her. He can just kind of have exchanges of long-range attacks. So in that sense, it does kind of make sense.
And of course, he's got the Valkyrie to be able to dodge those javelin tosses. So that's going to help him out in that case. The only catch is, of course, that Nidalee does have that innate heal, which Corki does not. So Corki is going to need to pick up some sustain to be able to survive that lane, I feel. Or Veggie's going to need to camp it and really give Kikis the ability to snowball.
Yeah, and also the Valkyrie's going to come in handy when Cyanide comes to gank top with that Twisted Advance. He's going to have to be careful, because remember, if Valkyrie is used while Twisted Advance is going through the motions, if he can get back to his tower, I'm talking about Kikis of course, then suddenly Maokai's in a really precarious position. So he's going to have to be careful there that Corki can't Valkyrie back to his tower and put Maokai in a really dangerous spot.
Yeah, and it is a scary one. I'm also a big fan of those long-range Twisted Advances. I can guarantee you will hear me saying that at least a couple of times as we get closer to that happening. And I'm just looking at the remainder of the rune pages. Nothing out of the ordinary thus far, except one blue attack damage rune for Lamia. So plus 16 physical damage. 11 MR and 13 armor, as opposed to the plus 15 physical and 12 MR. Really breaking the mold in the meta with this setup.
Lamia likes to separate himself from the crowd. He's a unique soul.
Yeah, really likes to stand out. So for everybody that is on stream, we're into the last 30 seconds before the game goes live. I've seen their adverts were thrown up by the admin team. So this time around, you guys will be able to see the skin war with us, and you can help us predict who you think should deserve the victory based on the skins alone. Last time round, Flaming Fabulous Taric and French Nidalee were able to pick up the victory for Fnatic. Can they do it again? That is the real question.
Flaming Fabulous Taric.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I want to end the sentence in a different way, but I feel I shouldn't. I also have just got an update from the admins, or actually our news writer rather. Thank you, Lucas. First game of Moscow 5 versus Eclipsia. Moscow 5 have picked up the victory. So we can assume it potentially could have been a similar performance. And my reason for saying that is, of course, the time frame. They were a little bit delayed from our game getting started. And we've got the skins once again, but is Sub-Zero Shen enough?
Well, I'm a massive Mortal Kombat fan, so I'm going to just say yes. I love these skins. You've got Scorpion or Sub-Zero, and I've always been a Sub-Zero guy, so mad props to Veggie.
We'll have to see now if Veggie can play the same way that he did in his Udia game, Udia or Manbear pick in game number 1. It's a scary thought for Fnatic, because the split power potential, the global ultimate of that Stand United is really strong. What do you think in terms of team composition now? In actual combat, and who actually stands the best chance this time round?
Well, just having a quick look between the two teams, I mean, Kennen is going to be super strong with Shen, obviously the ninja duo there, because as soon as Kennen goes in with his ultimate, if they have the communications down, which is exactly what you'd expect at this level of gameplay, Kennen's going to fly on in, Shen's going to ultimate on top of him, they're going to get stunned, and then suddenly they've been taunted on top of that. So it's going to be mega strong for Absolute Legends. Having said that though, I think the early to mid game is just going to be down to how well Cyanide combats with the rest of his team. If he can get those ganks down, it's going to be really scary. And oh my god, does Ezreal not want to push himself down into that bush. I
literally just had to hold my breath there, because if there had been a ward, if Felix had put that ward down and Dazzle, it would have been a guaranteed first blood. So close. And Kellever, what are you doing? That's the nerves.
He's just like poking a bear with his stick. Eventually he's going to get his arm bitten off. So he's fortunate that Fnatic have actually pulled themselves back, and it looks like we are just going to have a fairly standard opening here from both teams.
And once again, boots pots coming out from Felix's Taric. So, you know, wanting the movement speed, wanting the ability to get in range for those dazzles, and you can understand why. You know, the fact that Valkyrie is available, or rather in this case, it's going to be the Arcane Shift from Pakistan's Elite Random, or Ezreal rather. And, you know, every time we've seen a carry in their bottom lane for Absolute Legends thus far, it's had some sort of blink or dash ability, you know, a movement anti-gank ability, as it were.
Yeah, Arcane Shift and Valkyrie, as you said, is going to be great for him. And you can kind of understand why, because both the junglers he's been against thus far have been very CC heavy. Maokai coming in, nice steal there actually from Lamia.
Really nice. The volley and of course that guaranteed crit from the passive manages to pick up that big golem. Cyanide, instead of starting with his saplings or the little faces, opting to go for the arcane smash. So he's of course picked it up, and look at the damage on that bottom line. Pucky Style taking so much DPS from the dazzle, the volley, and the auto attack. And it's going to be a difficult lane to stay in if they continue to push. Now dazzle is available for Felix. He's trying to set up a gank. There is no ward from Absolute Legends. Now they're going to be moving forward. There goes the dazzle onto Super Ace. The toss into the twisted advance. That's going to be pushing forward. Arcane smash down. One more auto attack is needed. It is going to go to Lamia for first blood. Fnatic are looking like a completely different side to what we're used to seeing.
I just have to say it. Cyanide is such a strong jungler. Incredible play. He actually flashed in and twisted advance just to secure that first blood for his team, and it actually went to Lamia. So everything that could have gone right there for Fnatic did do so, and Lamia is going to be mega strong with that 400 gold. Corki has just flashed up red there. So he's going to be staying at the tower. And actually, it's important to note how this encounter at top is going between Nidalee and Corki. So far, Corki seems to be a bit zoned out. He's on 9, Nidalee on just the 8. But he's definitely taken more of a battering out this encounter so far.
And also, apologies to everybody on stream. I did have the wrong score displaying on my scoreboard. It is in fact 1-0 to Fnatic, not to Absolute Legends. Unfortunately, not being connected to the chat server means I can't actually see you guys yelling at me to fix that. So it has been rectified. And are you watching this top lane at the moment? Kikas was forced back a few seconds ago. But Soaz has a huge wave pushing him. Let's see how he farms underneath the tower. Now there's pressure, buddy. Now everyone's watching.
No pressure there. He's done pretty well so far. I think he's hit 3 out of 3. I did just miss one there, and Corki will be recalling. In the meantime, Shen did come towards bot lane, but nothing is there for ganks, and the bot lane for Fnatic will both recall in unison. Ashe has picked herself up a Doran's Blade, and Taric has taken a Vision Ward.
So Doran's Blade and Berserker's Greaves, compliments of the 26 CS or 20 CS and that first blood. I always like to see what the players tend to do. You know, if they do pick up that early first blood, do they want to save the money and go towards an earlier BF sword, or do they just want to get that early game advantage and, you know, picking up the additional attack speed, the additional movement speed? DPS and HP will be fairly even with Kikis's, with Elite Random's Ezreal. But of course, the advantage of the movement speed, the advantage of the attack speed is going to help during those duels. And we'll see if it pays off. We'll see if Lamia can continue to pick up kills with the aid of Cyanide and the giant tree Maokai.
Yeah, especially with Taric as well, because it's going to allow Ashe to close the gap sooner. As soon as the dazzle goes off, Ashe is going to be right there and waiting. So I can see why she picked up the Berserker's Greaves first. Taric is going to go ahead and plan toward in the bush, going up towards mid. We're going to have an engage there on Peke from Kellever and Shen. And nice damage actually from Kellever, crushing Peke with that one. And Peke with very little mana might be thinking in the back of his mind about recalling. He has popped a health pot, so I guess his intentions are to stay for a little bit longer. And of course that, is it Soul Siphon now? Essence Theft, sorry. It was the original name, I keep forgetting it, but Xpeke's Ari, of course, is going to be able to heal up some of the damage from her passive. Only 130 mana though, so Cyanide was setting up, considering ganking that mid lane, because of course Kennen was fairly deeply pressed into the lane past the river.
But no mana and no ultimate from Xpeki means they can't really commit to that fight.
Yeah, Maokai is just going to decide to take the Wraiths instead. Shen was thinking about going towards top lane. Actually, he's rethinking that one again, as you are going to have Veggie slowly but surely pushing his way up top. He is in Tribush, coming around the side. Ari on low health in the meantime. He's going to go down in mid, but I'm going to focus onto top. The Soaz has flashed through, and the taunt misses from Shen. And that is going to give Soaz the lifeline he so desperately needed. Oh, dearie me, Veggie.
I have just rewinded to watch the kill from Kelliver onto Xpeki in that mid lane. Really well-deserved kill, flashing forward aggressively with that slicing maelstrom. And great juke from Soaz. You know, one step to the side, dodges the Shadow Dash taunt, and that's all that was needed to, you know, mitigate the gank and to stay alive in lane.
Yeah, and I think had he been taunted there, I'm fairly sure Soaz would have died, or he'd been incredibly close to doing so. He has just leveled himself up to 6, so he is currently at the 1. In fact, no, sorry, my apologies. Corki also got himself to 6, so they are going to be equal. Corki has gone back to spawn, picks himself up 2 Doran's Blades on top of those pots. We are going to have some action at bot lane. Felix does flash in, but he has been silenced off Soraka, so wasn't able to get that dazzle off, and the 3 of them will be pushing back to the tower, with Cyanide going back into his jungle for blue.
I also have unconfirmed reports that apparently Moscow 5 have already qualified for the grand final. So I will wait for 100% confirmation for that one, but apparently they have, in which case it would mean that there were 2 very, very hard stomps if the best of 3 is already completed.
They must have been like 15-minute games each then.
Yeah, so I am waiting for some confirmation, guys, but stream number 2, it is up on Own3D. If you just look for the MMO Champions channel, you'll be able to look at stream number 2, so maybe someone in chat can help figure that out. Sadly, I can't read it and actually see that myself. But 1-1 in terms of score. Gold is as even as it's going to be, except for that first blood gold, really, and the slightly earlier GP10s. But Absolute Legends not being snowballed this time around. And the only thing I'm concerned about, the only thing I'm thinking about right now, is how do they progress into the team fight stage?
It's a very important question, actually, because it's going to be difficult to see how the team fights are going to go for both teams. I mean, at the moment you've got Ken. In fact, we are going to have... Oh, we're not going to have a gank in mid. There was a ping down. In fact, we could actually have a gank in mid as the flash comes in and the twisted advance. Slicing Maelstrom instantly used from Kelliver. Here comes Shen from the side, though. Can he pick up the kill into Cyanide? Answer is potentially, in fact, not. Here comes the charm and the Orb of Deception from Ari, who did just pick up the kill into Kelliver, looking for the second as well, but Veggie seems to be able to survive with 18 health points remaining. And that gank very nearly went horribly wrong.
And on the bottom line, a dazzle flash volley coming out, manages to pick up the kill. Felix was quite far forward, and he managed to step through the grass. After he landed the dazzle onto Pucky style, Lamia just flashes forward, tosses out the volley and says, "Thank you very much, I will take that kill, I will take the gold, and I believe I will buy a BF sword." Compliments of that 2-0-0.
Ouch, that is it's looking quite painful. As you say, has picked up a BF sword and also a mana pot, and that's not something you'd normally see on an AD carry, but obviously thinking about the long term, Corki is going to be harassing Nidalee once again. Soaz will be jumping back in again, but not too much is going to come out of that one. It's just basically both of them feeling each other out. They're just exchanging blows.
I do have a little bit more of confirmation. Apparently the teams only played the single game, but the players at this moment in time believe it or think it may have been a best of 1 instead of a best of 3. So the players actually stopped playing, and the admins are trying to get in touch with the guys from MMO Champions just to confirm with the players it is meant to be best of 3. So as soon as I hear more, I will let you guys know. But Soaz now being forced out of lane by the blue buff Kikis. And I like the thinking as well, sticking that Corki up in the top lane, Kennen in the mid, because Kennen of course does not need blue buff. You know, he uses energy, and the energy refresh or the energy rate is pretty high. We maybe should have actually looked at his masteries to see if he's going for the energy regen ones. 200, no, so probably not. But you know, giving that blue buff to Corki, allowing him to use those phosphorus bombs, allowing him to continually spam out those missile barrages is really going to help him, and it shows because he was able to force Soaz out. It hasn't affected the farm just yet. Soaz still 78 CS to 76, or 76 to 80 rather. That's pretty even on that bottom lane.
Oh, Soraka being forced to flash away, and here comes a lot of damage from Ezreal actually onto Ashe. Ashe will be falling very quickly. Arrow from the side though, Peke trying to make amends for that. Lamia going down, Shen will ultimate on towards Soraka, and the Hunter's become the hunted. Is now Peke's going to have to pull himself back. 4v2 situation, ultimate from Kennen, surely going to secure the kill on the Taric at least. Yes, they will. But Peke will manage to stay alive, so nice action coming in there. 2-for-0 exchange in favour of Absolute Legends, and that's going to be a dragon for them on top of everything else.
So that's going to keep Absolute Legends back in this game. A very, very good, I don't want to use the word counter gang, but a good positional play, you know. Fnatic tried to make something happen on that bottom lane, and Lamia just could not take the damage that Pakistan was putting out with his Ezreal. You know, Ezreal double Dorans and Merc Treads. Interesting to go Merc Treads actually, but it makes sense. The slow, the stun, the snare, the magic damage from Javelin Toss that's going to be coming out, you know. I like the idea, I like the build, and we'll have to see how it converts into this mid-game. And a little bit of delay there on those DP, the damage actually showing on the bottom lane. But as soon as they managed to pick up the kill onto Lamia, Stand United turned it around and managed to pick up a 2-for-0 plus Dragon Exchange.
You know, I'm going to ask you a question you asked me earlier, Quick Shot. I mean, going into that mid to late game, which of these two teams do you feel has the advantage?
In terms of team fight potential, in a straight up fight, I think that if Fnatic are able to focus Needly, Ashe, and Ari onto a single target, they should be able to potentially blow someone up. But the problem is, they're going to need to do it from the side, or they're going to need to initiate with the Crystal Arrow and then pick up the kill and then go for the rest of the fight. Because other than, you know, the Crystal Arrow or a Twisted Advance, they don't have a hard engage. The reason that that's really difficult, or the reason I point that out, Kennen, Corki, Ezreal are all mobile champions. You can't lock them down. You know, if you don't lock them down and blow them up immediately, Lightning Rush, Arcane Shift, or Valkyrie, they're just going to get to safety. You're not going to be able to blow them up instantly because you're going to have Super Ace healing them. You've got Wish, you've got Astral Blessing, and then you've got Stand United from Veggie. So whoever, you know, Fnatic do decide to try and focus, if AL are on the ball, they should be able to survive or save that player, and then either commit with the mobility spells or run away with the mobility spells. So I think that in this game, Absolute Legends have the better team, especially when it comes to straight up fights and whatnot. But if Fnatic can convert a kill early, maybe they can win that team fight.
I think one of the things that's going through my mind, I will jump in on this bot lane if Cyanide can get this gank off, which is looking not likely. I thought for a sec that the stun was going to come down from Taric, but not to be the case. But I think another thing that factors into this as well, that you basically have 2 AD carries on the AL team, on the Absolute Legends team. So even if they do focus down on Ezreal, Corki's still going to be there bashing away, and vice versa. So definitely one to watch out for. I think Veggie is going to play a huge part in this game though. If Absolute Legends is going to take this one, Veggie is going to have to be there every single team fight, really playing well.
I do also have 100% confirmation. There was a little bit of miscommunication between the other semi-final, and game number 2 is going to be started very, very shortly. Xpeke lands a great charm onto Veggie. It's not going to be enough though, because he is going to manage to get taunted in the end. Now Cyanide is thinking about the fight. The Ashe Arrow comes out. It may be enough damage if he can get another sapling onto Caliber, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of DPS coming out from those little faces of Maokai. And he's not able to do anything more than really just save his tower.
Yeah, so, well, we are going to have a bit of a fight kicking off at top lane. Both Kikis and Soaz, again, just exchanging blows. Let's have a look at the creep score difference, actually. Corki 126, nearly 131. Very, very close there. Soaz is going to go and poke once again onto Kikis. Oh, a nice javelin thrown. Kikis does actually catch that one. And he's going to have to go ahead and recall. But Soaz is in hot pursuit here. Another javelin has been thrown. Are we going to see these two throw down? Nidalee very quickly behind him. Shen is going to pop off the ultimate. Is it going to be enough though? The answer is a no. Soaz gets in and out. And Corki tries his best to escape, but it's not going to be enough. Nice play from Soaz.
And definitely something that needs to be pointed out there. The blue buff is now sitting on Soaz. You know, that lane has been very, very even. Back and forth, or maybe not even even. You know, Soaz has been on the back foot a little bit more than what we've actually seen from from Kikis that, you know, he's been playing very, very aggressively. The bottom lane, Lamia goes super, super low. But now that Soaz was able to 1v1 and in the prolonged fight eventually come out ahead, picking up the kill, and now with blue buff, this lane may now swing further in favor of Soaz if he opts to stay in the lane, but by picking up the tower, he may end up deciding to just roam.
Oh, you're going to have Peke landing another charm onto Kellever, doing a nice bit of damage. Some pings going up bot lane. Here comes Maokai. Oh, the arrow from Lamia did miss, but Maokai will be coming in from the side. Nice stun from Feliox. And he will get the twisted advance onto Soraka, but if you have a look at Lamia's health and mana, couldn't really follow up on that engage, because she could have actually gone down. So it's a bit of a failed gank in the end. In the meantime, Kennen is going to go down in mid lane from Peke.
Yeah, a little bit of aggression. Soaz and Peke managed to pick that one up under the tower. We can see that the Slicing Maelstrom is off cooldown as well, so I can assume that that was used during the course of the fight. And some pretty good damage, just the single Orb of Deception onto Kikis. And it chunked off, 20-odd% of his hit points.
An ambitious ultimate from Ezreal. Did you see that bot there?
I just caught it there, landing onto Maokai, and of course it was pretty decent damage. Look at the DPS. Foxfires lands. There goes the pounce. 1 or 2 more attacks. A great exhaust is going to delay the death by just a couple of seconds, but heal. I think Wish was even used as well. Wish, exhaust, everything was blown there. And unfortunately, just eating the charm from the back, the love kiss of Xpeke, too much to handle and pulled him backwards to his death, unfortunately.
We're going to have Infinity Edge finished off onto Ashe, and we're going to have for Ezreal a Phage Sheen, obviously going towards that Trinity Force, but hasn't quite managed to close it off just yet. Riley's Crystal Scepter onto Ari, and on Kennen, a Hextech Revolver, Blasting Wand, and Negatron Cloak, so I'd expect that to be taken into an Abyssal Scepter fairly soon. Dragon is going to get taken though from Fnatic, unless Absolute Legends react very quickly. And
this is the second dragon of the game?
Yeah.
Second dragon, the first one went to Absolute Legends, so that's balanced that one out. One tower to potentially one if Veggie decides to stay on this tower, but he may opt to just fall back and deny the CS and the gold. Instead, he is actually going to stick around. He does have that Heart of Gold as well as the Giant's Belt completed. Now, Xpeke is committing to this fight. He does miss the charm. Spirit Rush is available, as is Ignite. But I think he realizes there's just too many hit points on that ninja to commit for that big fight. And opts to fall backwards instead.
Yeah, didn't quite have the damage to take down Shen. Needs to be careful because Corki is looking in the tri-bush. And if Shen can land this taunt, Peke could be in all kinds of trouble. That's not going to be the case. Instead, Kikis is just going to spam away a couple of those missile barrages and keep farming up his wave. Here comes Nidalee though, jumping over towards Baron. I don't think we're going to have any big fights kicking off just here. And yeah, Shen is going to pull himself out.
I do also want to apologize to everybody watching with regards to the adverts. I have asked the admin team to not throw adverts up during the game. So hopefully they are listening. Wait for it to happen after the game, guys. And we do see 4-6 in terms of kills. Gold advantage slightly in favor of Fnatic. I do have that single tower up. Dragons have gone 1-1. And, of course, the pressure coming out from Cyanide this time round has not been on the same level as the previous games. But GP5, 3 of them completed. Maokai is going to become a very, very strong mid-game champion because he's got significantly more gold stacking up than his counterpart Veggie on Shen.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare this game to the last game in terms of Cyanide's ganking, I think he had 3 kills, 3 deaths, about 20 minutes. This time, 0 kills, 0 deaths, 2 assists. In fact, not 3 kills, 3 deaths, sorry. 3 kills, 3 assists. So you can see the difference there. In Maokai, he has been farming up a tiny bit more than ganking. He does have Heart of Gold, the Philo Stone, and
the Crystal Arrow misses once again. Compliments of a great arcane shift. Xpeke comes in from miles though, uses the Spirit Rush. There's a third proc still available. If he decides to go forward, it should be enough to pick up the kill. Unfortunately not using, actually it wasn't the Spirit Rush, it was Slicing Maelstrom was holding on to. Does manage to pick up the kill onto Pucky Style though, before going down to Kennen. Tower does go down in the top lane, but 1-for-1 exchange. Of course, Absolute Legends do manage to pick up the tower from that one. If Fnatic decide to siege this one, it will be a slightly superior exchange. Ultimate from Kennen is still available, and the damage onto Veggie is really, really huge. A long-range twisted advance. That's going to hold him in place. Now, Soaz is going to go down in the background. Somehow manages to survive for a couple seconds longer. And it's not going to be enough to save his life, though. They're trying to pick up this kill into Caliver. So low. Unfortunately, Lamia took too much damage from that tower. He was forced backwards, forced away. Not only do they give up an additional... So that was once again another 1-for-1. Corki almost managed to take out that inner tower on the top line. And I think Absolute Legends are just going to play a super serious split pushing game.
Lamia actually had to burst his flash there, pop his flash just to survive and not get taken down from the tower as well. So he was really keen to get that kill. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off for him. Also, Shen ultimated Soraka, and she managed to survive with 15 health points. So close. And again, that's why Shen is such a strong champion.
Now, I want to know exactly how the item build is going to go for Needly, because he's picked up the Cutlass. And does that mean we're going to see the Hextech Gunblade? I have not seen one on a Needly before, but it makes sense. Ability power, attack damage, as well as the lifesteal. So, we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, last game, I think she went for a Phage, and she wasn't able to finish off the Trinity Force. Obviously, this one is going to go for the longer haul. It's not going to finish quite as soon. So, build your Water Cutlass into Hextech Gunblade with a Trinity Force. It's going to be very tasty indeed on Nidalee, and you can understand exactly why she go alongside that. Ashe has got an Infinity Edge and a Zeal, so lots of damage coming in there from Fnatic. And on the other team, you actually hold that thought for a sec, as PK was coming under some attack, but actually turned out to be not too much. You can have a Trinity Force on Ezreal and an Infinity Edge onto Corki.
And the damage that he's putting down, Arcane Shift, as well as that Essence Flux and the Mystic Shot, it's just dealing so much damage. He landed all three abilities into Lamia, and it chunked Lamia down to about 66% HP. He did take a heal there from Felox, and of course that Essence Flux reduces the attack speed significantly as well. 40%. And look how he's using that True Shot Barrage, just chopping the minions' HPs down, putting some DPS onto the enemy champions and sieging the tower. While I'm busy waffling, Veggie takes a lot of damage in the mid lane. And Fnatic just go, you know what, you want to push bottom, we'll push middle. Oh, they managed to commit to this fight. A twisted advance onto Caliver. They not only blow him up instantly, they pick up a very easy tower kill. And whoever made the call for Fnatic there, you deserve a cookie. Because that was a really good go, dive now, and there was no hesitation. Not one of those champions paused. You know, every single one of them, they dove, they committed, picked up the kill, and that was a cookie-deserving call.
Yeah, and you know, Maokai engages. One of the major strengths of Maokai. He can just lock down one champion for a couple seconds, allow the rest of the team to completely pummel them. So there, the Twisted Advance went onto Kennen, the Spirit Rush was used instantly from Peke, the Charm, the Orbital Deception, everything in the kitchen sink was thrown at him to secure that kill. And Caliver, even though he popped his ultimate, was only alive for about a second to utilize that before going down.
Yeah, didn't really do a whole lot. In terms of towers, 3-1 right now in favor of Fnatic. Only 3 kills difference, but it's not about kills, it is about map objectives. And right now, Fnatic are a little bit further ahead. The only shining light for Absolute Legends, that's a bit dramatic, it's not the only shining light, but in terms of itemization and damage, you've got a really well-farmed Ezreal, and you've got several kills currently sitting on Kevalar's Kennen. He does have that Abyssal Scepter completed, he has the Revolver, as well as a Blasting Wand, so if they can commit to a big team fight and use that Slicing Maelstrom and the Shadow Dash Taunt to lock up a couple of champions, it might be a pretty strong victory for Absolute Legends, but they need to do it soon. Fnatic are getting to the point where they can just roll away with the game. You know, they've got a fairly decent gold lead, and Absolute Legends need to stop the rot.
Yeah, and 2 towers down in mid as well, which is going to give Fnatic a nice bit of map control. So they need to start mounting a comeback. As you said before, Dragon has respawned, and it's going to be interesting to see which of these 2 teams makes a move for it. Looks like Fnatic are going to be just that. Here comes Absolute Legends. 3, making that 4 players starting to push up. Shen has Standing Knight off cooldown, so he can join this team fight if he so chooses. Doesn't look like one's going to be kicking off though, because Dragon has been taken very comfortably from Fnatic, and Absolute Legends will be pulling back to their tower.
Level 11 Super Rays, maxed out that Astral Blessing, 4 points into his Infuse, has not put a single point into his Star Call just yet. So it's not out of the ordinary, but I just felt it necessary to tell you guys. And look at Fnatic's positioning right now. Xpeke and Soaz chilling in the background. They're about to get vision very, very soon as these creeps come up. There goes the charm into Kikika's face. Spirit Rush ×1, Spirit Rush ×2. Third Spirit Rush isn't even going to get off because of the stun and the burst from Kikis. Now they've turned their attention back to the rest of Fnatic. First kill has gone to Absolute Legends. Stand United has finally been used. Shadow Dash Taunt is going to hold up Felix and Lamia. Soaz has jumped in the background. He's going to be trying to chase down one kill. It is a 1-for-2 exchange thus far. Absolute Legends really coming up further ahead. 2 for 3 this time round, in fact. Oh, it was only a 1 for 3, actually. 1 for 3. Because lead random, the heal, and the lifesteal from the Doran's Blades was enough to keep him alive on super, super low hit points.
Oh my god.
And huge plays from Absolute Legends.
Kellever needs to take a bow right there. He was in such a good position to pop off the Slicing Maelstrom. He made Corki survive out of a situation he really shouldn't have. That teamfight kicked off because Corki went face checking into a bush where Ari was stood, and somehow they come out on top. Because Kellever pops off the ultimate, he stuns Ari, they take it down. Corki's missile barrage, it must have been the big one that propped off, did so much damage to Ari, took her down, and after that it was clear sailing for them. So huge turnaround for Absolute Legends.
Really nicely done. And look at the itemization. Hex Drinker as well as the Infinity Edge. So not only is Corki going to be able to deal a chunk of damage, all of the magic DPS that's coming out from Ari, as well as the burst damage from that, what's the Maelstrom of Maokai now?
Vengeful.
His is the Vengeful Maelstrom, and it's the Slicing Maelstrom from Kennen. You know, that magic damage, as well as the Javelin Toss. You know, a Javelin Toss is a stray Javelin Toss is not going to pick up a kill onto Corki now. Compliments of that Hex Drinker. And Ezreal rocking out the Black Cleaver.
Oh, wow. Black Cleaver. That's an item we don't see a great deal in League of Legends, but it's a very welcome sight for me. And I absolutely love it. I
really like that because of his passive, of that Rising Spell Force. Every time he lands an ability, it increases his attack speed. So combine that with the attack speed that Black Cleaver gives you, and with the fact that it's an armor debuff, you know, you're going to be tossing out your True Shot Barrage at the beginning of a fight. That's going to guarantee you get max stacks on your passive. And I think it's going to crank him up to around 1.7, 1.8 attacks per second, which is really, really good. Compare that to Lamia at the moment. Currently seeing it a 1.5 attack speed, so not significantly further behind, but having no armor debuff, it's going to make Ezreal hit just that little bit harder.
Yes, it will. And on top of that, you've also got Corki, who's very scary. On top of that, as you said before, Hex Drinker is going to save his life. You have to feel a couple of times against that Nidalee. 3 players for Fnatic kind of chilling out in the mid. Baron is, of course, up. And do you think either of these teams are going to really try and push a Baron fight over the next couple of minutes?
Well, it's going to be the next engagement. You know, you've got the bottom lane tower, which Pakistal's trying to defend with his life. You know, he's been fighting Soaz for a couple of minutes now, and technically speaking, Soaz has been coming out ahead in this regard. He does have the red buff up. It's about a third left on that timer. And pretty much just farming, you know, 263 CS, the highest amount on the map at the moment. Now we see Veggie's going to be able to get a dazzle to the face. No Crystal Arrow following it up. And I think pushing towers is all good, but Baron's the thing that everybody wants. And whichever team decides to commit for it, look at the Fnatic wards, and let's look at the time on those wards. Fairly new as well, so within the next 3 minutes, I'd be willing to, you know, if I were a betting man, I think Fnatic are going to push for this Baron buff. And I'm scared if they get caught by a Slicing Maelstrom. If Kennen can dive in and get a good Slicing Maelstrom, there's the fight I was telling you about. Soaz and Pakistal going 1-to-1. Ignite was burned by Soaz, and he did manage to come out ahead once again. Seems Trinity Force Cutlass greater than Trinity Force Black Cleaver, and a huge charm lands onto Kellever, followed up immediately by the Crystal Arrow. Stand United is going to be used. It's not going to be enough to save his life, though. Now they've turned their attention to Cyanide. Cyanide's taking a lot of damage and forced backwards. 1 or 2 auto attacks is all that's required to take Shen out. The True Shot Barrage comes out, and had that hit Cyanide, it may have been enough to pick up the kill. And if I were Fnatic, that should be Baron. I think they've got the damage, I think they've got the heal from Nidalee and the heal from Taric. Instead, though, they may just recall and spend some money.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, maybe Baron was on right there for them. They've cancelled a couple of the recalls, but Soaz and Peke both going to go back. In fact, Peke coming off will land the charm onto Kikis, and a nice orbital deception. Valkyrie being used from Kikis just to escape with his life, and he burnt Flash on top of that. So 2 abilities, 1 summon spell, 1 ability being burnt from him, and you are now going to have Peke and Feliox recalling. So yeah, they're going to go back, pick up some nice items, and maybe try and force Baron in a really short period of time.
Now the thing is, even though, you know, they still have the gold lead, at 30 minutes, that gold lead is effectively insignificant. I mean, let's see how it actually plays out in terms of your champions. Mid lane, 10,000 to 9,400. Bot lane, you're talking 10,500 to 10,500. Top lane, 9,500 to 10,200. So 600, 700 gold at this stage in the game is really not that significant. I do, however, want to point out the triple GP5s, GP10s rather, and the difference that makes in the jungle. 9,600 gold to 7,000 gold. So, you know, 2k difference, 2,000 gold on the board, just compliments of having those GP10s ticking over. And it shows because Frozen Heart is completed, as well as Aegis of the Legion, in comparison to a Sunfire Cape and a Null Magic Mantle.
Definitely. I mean, Frozen Heart is going to be so strong because we said this before. Right now, Absolute Legends have 2 AD carries, so Maokai is going to be a real pain in the ass for them. You are going to have some more pings going down. Ari throwing out the Orb of Deception, thinking perhaps there's a player in that bush. It's not going to be the case. And Kennan's actually back at spawn. I think if they knew that, they would have probably gone for this Baron.
And of course, 3 out of the champions... Actually, you know what? You can go so far as to say that all of the carries and all the DPS champions on behalf of Absolute Legends rely on that attack speed. You know, Shen, in order to get that key strike ability of his up and out, you know, he needs to be attacking multiple times and getting that cooldown down. Kennen, Ezreal, and Corki, they're all attack speed champs. And of course, Ezreal is able to boost that attack speed with his passive, and by having the attack speed bonus of that Black Cleaver. So, and now Zeal as well. Frozen Heart is just going to pay huge amounts, and we do see Soaz completing the Gunblade. Like we've seen earlier, going for that Cutlass, and now the Gunblade is complete. So what's his ability power at the moment, actually? 100 AP.
It's actually quite similar to how a lot of Jaxes build themselves.
Look at the damage onto Xpeke. He ate a Mystic Shot to the face. And of course, the on-hit is applied from that Mystic Shot, which means the damage debuff. The Ezreal arrow does land into Kickers. That's huge, or the Ashe arrow rather. Now they've turned their attention. But look at the DPS from that Slicing Maelstrom. Unfortunately, the Vengeful was completely out of place. It wasn't enough to reduce the damage. And this fight has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Kevlar completely turning that one around. I'm actually going to rewind that. We're going to rewind that twice and put this into slow-mo for you guys. And it will be a Baron. So let's take a look as this Ashe arrow comes out. I'm going to do this one just by play-by-play. That may actually seal the game. Now we're going to see. So here it comes up. But look at the DPS that comes out from Kevlar. He flashes in. Flash, Mystic Shot, True Shot Barrage, and the Slicing Maelstrom. And the huge, huge, huge thing there, the Vengeful Maelstrom was not over the AoE damage. And that is why Fnatic ended up losing that fight so significantly.
Well, you know what? Absolute Legends have just pushed 2 towers down in mid, so they have equaled that one up. And they're currently 1 tower ahead, have pulled themselves back a fair amount of gold. As you said, though, it's not that important at this stage of the game, but they didn't go for a Baron. So they are going to be recalling. Baron is still up, and you have to feel it's still anybody's game. But that team fight, as you said, started off well. They landed the arrow onto Corki, but everything after that was completely in AL's favour.
And remember what I said at the beginning of the game, you know, if Fnatic can catch somebody and if they can blow them up, maybe. But they caught Corki. I don't know if Stand United was used on him. I wasn't paying that much attention, but I definitely seen the Astral Blessing and Wish going out. You know, they couldn't kill Corki. And the damage mitigation from that Vengeful Maelstrom was not there to reduce the DPS of the True Shot Barrage, to reduce the damage of that Slicing Maelstrom. And you also had a really, really good Shadow Dash Taunt, which locked up 2 of the carry DPS champions, the damage champions from Fnatic. So you've got this really good team that can take straight up fights on behalf of Absolute Legends. And the Fnatic side, which really needs to rely on catching somebody out of position before they can win a fight. And if I were AL, I'd be feeling very confident right now.
This was going into one of the things that I said quite early on in the game, that from Fnatic's viewpoint, do they have enough damage to take down Absolute Legends? I'm not too sure. You know, they got the perfect arrow off, but they still lost the team fight. Either way, we could be seeing another one right here as Shen is bumping heads with Maokai. Is he going to be jumping in though? The answer is, well, no. The Twisted Advance comes in. Big damage from Slicing Maelstrom. Once again, Ash is going to pick that one up. Corki straight back onto Maokai. Kennen is going to be picking his kill up as well. Nice charm use from Ari, darting around the side with the Spirit Rush. Is going to take down a player. Here comes Ash back onto Ezreal. Going to get a double kill onto Kennen as well. And now Soraka being forced to flash through the wall just to escape. But here comes Ari. Once again, Peke going huge onto Soraka. Can he pick up the double kill? Yes, he can. A 5-for-2 exchange. And Fnatic going phenomenally huge in that team fight.
And Xpeke landing the point-blank charm onto Corki there, onto Kikis. That was literally what saved his life. Had Kikis got one more auto attack out, it would have been enough to pick up the kill. Unfortunately, though, the point-blank charm was more than enough to keep him alive. Now they're going to be trying to 3-man this Baron. You got the lifesteal from Lamia, and of course the Essence Theft is going to be giving Xpeke a little bit of HP back, but it may not be enough. Oh, there we go. It was actually, sorry. It was enough to keep them alive. And the really big play in that particular fight was the fact that Veggie was a bit overconfident. Veggie was running in and amongst the Fnatic players, and he committed to that fight, and he was staying there for a very long time. He took some damage, and once Fnatic jumped onto him, he couldn't survive or play that disruption taunting role that he needed to. And because he couldn't dive past, you know, pulling the carries back or pulling attention onto the carries, it meant that Lamia and Xpeke could just position themselves to the left and the right of the fight and freely deal all the DPS they wanted to.
Definitely. I mean, like I said this earlier as well, Veggie is going to have to play a huge part if Absolute Legends is going to pick up this game. In that sense, as you say, I think Hubris got the upper hand. I think he got kind of punished for his overextension there. Maokai just jumped on the Twisted Advance. They were so bunched up as well with Fnatic in that team fight. They were just like, okay, Shen's being a bit of a tool. Let's put him out of his misery. Let's just jump on top of him. And that basically lost Absolute Legends the team fight straight up. As soon as Shen went down, they didn't really have any tank ability left.
So they did manage to pick up the Baron buff, so that's a decent chunk of gold, as well as picking up another tower in that bottom lane. They've increased their gold gap now to a slightly more significant value, you know, even at this stage. And again, it does get smaller and smaller. But what I like from that play, once again, is just the immense positioning. So I'd like to see how Absolute Legends now decide to commit to this, because that was a straight-up team fight, one that they were slightly out of position, and that is what ended up costing them. Look at the items on Ari. The Abyssal Scepter completed, Rylai's Deathfire Grasp, as well as that needlessly large rod. They really are going to commit for this insta-blow somebody up, and Fnatic looking like they want to siege this tower down.
Yep, they are going to try and poke off. Here comes Shen. Did try to taunt onto Ari, so close yet so far. And had that landed, I'm pretty sure Ari would have gone down fairly quickly. It's being poked heavily from Ezreal, who is going to come through the wall with the Arcane Shift. Could be picking up this kill. Ash Arrow was used to try and stave off the onslaught, but with Ari so low, they're going to try and go for the Jugular here. Veggie taking the upper hand. Caliber will be jumping in with that Slicing Maelstrom. Look at that damage output he's doing, but he's on his own and didn't really have a great deal of help from the rest of his team. So Ash will be taking him down. Peke still somehow alive, will be getting taken out himself from Corki. Nice ultimate from Shen onto Corki. Can he pick up any more kills? Onto Maokai, doing a lot of damage. Vengeful Maelstrom has been used from Cyanide, is trying to just kind of troll around, allowing the rest of his team to rejoin this team fight once again. Maokai gets taken out from Ezreal, Taric then from Soraka, battle of the supports, and that is a 3-for-2 exchange. And Fnatic actually come out behind.
Huge engagement, and you've got to ask, what were Absolute Legends doing? Caliber dove in with a great Slicing Maelstrom, dealt so much damage, but there was nobody there to back him up. You know, I mean, I noticed that Soaz was on the right-hand side there in the mid lane, pulling some attention away, but why are you sticking to the solo top champion instead of committing with your AP middle?
Exactly. I mean, I was really surprised. I saw Kellever go in. He's doing so much damage. What's he got for items? He's got Rabadon's Deathcap, Abyssal Scepter. I think he's probably going to be building towards Zhonya's Hourglass because he's taking a Chain Vest. So he is doing ridiculous damage. But then I had a look at the rest of his team, and they're all kind of 2 or 3 steps behind him. So he goes down in a heartbeat. And he must be like, come on guys, where are you? I need some help here. And had they been right behind him, they could have easily got the ace there, comfortably.
So a great team fight there for, well, not even great, but a little bit of back and forth for the teams. A little bit lucky for Fnatic to come out ahead. It was a 3-for-2 overall. Baron buff has now expired on the champions that are still alive. And that'll be respawning in the next couple of minutes. And you've got to feel that the next big team fight loss is going to cost an inhibitor, if not the entire game.
Definitely. This kind of stage of the game, you're sitting out between 40-50 seconds on the substitution bench. So if you go down, if you lose 2 or 3 players, that is going to spell curtains for one of your inhibs. And as you say, potentially the matchup. Just caught a glimpse there that Lamia has finished off the Guardian's Angel. So she is full item built right now. Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster with 40 stacks, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, and Guardian's Angel. She is going to be a scary archer indeed. But it's whether the positioning can come down, whether Fnatic can provide that meat shield for her to rain down Hellfire and Brimstone on the opposition, or whether she is going to get taken out of the equation early on.
And of course, more of Malmortius completed on Needly as well. So huge item builds. Take a look at the gold difference right now. Especially I want to take a look on our junglers. 10,500 gold to 12,900. So that 2.5k difference is still there and is still prevalent. In terms of our supports, there's another big difference. 1,000 gold difference on a support as well. The Locket of the Iron Solaria has been completed on Felox. And I like that build because you've got that huge magic burst damage that's coming out. So I'd really like to see exactly how much that is going to come into play as this game goes further.
Yeah, so you can see right now Absolute Legends on the back foot. Fnatic pushing fairly aggressively through the mid. You can have Soaz at the top as well. And it's just really a case of who makes that small blunder, who makes a huge play here. You do have dangerous characters. You've got Maokai who can suddenly, out of nowhere, twist and advance the player if they are straggling alongside nobody else on their team. But on the flip side, you've got Shen. If someone just overextends, he can punish them with a quick taunt. So it's all going to be down to those slight mistakes or a slight moment of brilliance.
And that's what it's going to take. One small mistake. One small misstep, and it's going to cost either your inhibitor or potentially even the game. We have entered that stage in the match where it's effectively... it's not a stalemate, it's just a delay. A Mexican standoff, waiting for the teams to commit, waiting for the teams to either push a tower down or to go for Baron or something similar. And whichever team is slightly out of position, that's going to be the one that gets punished. And Absolute Legends cannot afford another mistake. That's the onus is on them right now. They are behind on gold, behind on towers. And if you just look at the playstyle, Fnatic are sitting in their camp. Fnatic are sitting on their half of the map and have been for the better part of the last 15 minutes. You can see Nash is about to spawn. Fnatic completely ready for it. Huge number of wards. Look how quickly that is going down.
Look at the ward coverage. They know exactly where Absolute Legends are. Baron is going to be finished off. This could be the last chance saloon for Absolute Legends. This could be the last stand. Are they going to be jumping in? Look at the damage put out onto Soraka and also onto, I think that was Corki. Huge stuff, but it appears that we are going to have a huge anti-climax and no team fight is going to ensue.
That was compliments of a very premature Spirit Rush from Expeke. I think he thought he was going to land the charm and tossed out the charm, used the first dash of that Spirit Rush, and unfortunately nothing landed. So immediately stood there and called to the team, no, don't do it, I don't have my Spirit Rush to move, carry on fighting. And yep, very anticlimactic at the end of the day. But Baron buff is on the Fnatic players. Means they're going to be able to use the poke composition of that charm, the orb, and the javelin toss a little bit more effectively. And we may see one of these tower siege standoffs.
Yeah, I'd expect that to be the case. But, Absolute Legends cannot afford to be aggressive. Ash Arrow does come does land onto Soraka. Shirelia's Reverie has been popped off. Corki taking a lot of damage, down to less than half HP. That's going to be the mid tower going down, and now this vulnerable inhibitor could be following suit. As Nidalee, in the meantime, is going to be taking down that top tower as well. So split push to perfection here. Kennen is going to pop off the ultimate just for Nidalee. I can't help but feel that's a bit of a blunder. Using that huge game-changing ultimate just for one character. We are going to have a bit of a team fight kicking off around this inhib as well. Big damage being exchanged. Twisted advance onto Shen. Ignite as well, but he looks like he's going to be able to pull back. But this inhib will be falling. Spirit Rush from Ari. And I think that's pretty much just sealed the deal.
Are we going to have to see exactly this? Battle is still going on without all of those ultimates available. Absolute Legends seem very, very nervous to commit to the fight. Stand United has been used to save Calavilla. He's opted to use that Zhonya's Hourglass, delays his death a couple of seconds, but in doing so does buy his team enough time to pick up a kill onto Soaz. Now Lamia's going to go down. Guardian Angel has been popped. Cyanide's tanking some turret damage. Gets right back up. Vengeful Maelstrom in the background. Both inhibitors top and middle lane have now gone down. And you don't mind losing the kills. They're going to pick up another kill onto Veggie. Jump forward, the flash into Twisted Advance means that Kikis gets blown up. And if Fnatic continue this push, that's going to be the GG. All of that from a little bit of miscommunication or misfocus. There goes the charm, just out of range. And, you know, a little bit of poor positioning. Fnatic noticed an opening on behalf of Absolute Legends, pushed the middle lane down, and once... expect it trolling just a little bit. Once the slicing Maelstrom had been used from Kellever, you could see the gameplay from Fnatic going go, 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 push, push, push. And Fnatic win the game 2-0 after 47 minutes. But that was a hard-fought victory.
That was much, much closer than game number 1, which was a landslide victory to Fnatic. So they do take this one 2-0, but I have to say, you know, I can't stress the importance of Kellever blowing the ultimate on just Soaz, and then Soaz managed to escape either way. It was a